Joanne, do you just want to start off by telling me a little bit about this amazing research project?
I'm a professor in the Department of Biochemistry at the University of Alberta. And here at the U of A, I work with other teams that include chemists. This would be the Veteris Lab in the Department of Chemistry and the Nyman team in the Applied Virology Institute. And then we also work with virologists, so this would be Lauren Terrell's lab. And the whole aim of our team is to develop antivirals to treat people who are infected with COVID-19. Antivirals have been developed for other viruses, including HIV and hepatitis C virus, to be used as treatment, so not as preventative measure, but more of a treatment for people who are already infected. And so they've been very successful. And as you know, we have no option for treatment of COVID-19 currently. So what we're doing is we're actually targeting an enzyme that's found encoded by the virus. And this enzyme is a protease. It chops up other proteins. And the virus uses this to help replicate more virus particles. So if we can inhibit this enzyme, we can depress the infection and we can stop the progression. So so our team is developing small chemical molecules to be taken in either an IV format or an oral formulation to treat someone who has COVID-19.
So antiviral drugs, do you want to just tell me a little bit about those? Is that also in stopping the spread of the virus or just diminishing it in the person that currently has it?
Well, I think those two things go hand in hand. So when you diminish the infection in a person, they may have a shorter duration of infection, which will lead to less spreading in the community as well.
So just tell me about the Canadian light source. It seems like quite a robust machine. How do you guys use that?
Well, the CLS is an amazing resource here in Canada. So we when we were developing drugs, these therapeutics must bind to the pockets that do the activity of the enzyme. And what we want to do is we want to visualize how they fit in a three-dimensional shape. And so this will help us understand how the drugs are working, how the therapeutics are working, and it will also help us develop even better therapeutics. So CLS has this amazing remote data collection, which has been indispensable in the time of COVID. So our research really has not slowed down. We've actually ramped up, and we purify our protein with the drug, and then we will send it off to the CLS and then use their facility remotely. So we do remote data collection, and the scientists are there on hand to support us, and they've been tremendous throughout the pandemic to really assist us with our data collection. So we've been able to actually visualize several different drug candidates in three-dimensional space and envision how these drugs are working and think about how to improve them even further. So it's been a great collaborative effort with this facility. So the facility is open for scientists to use. They have an application for projects to use the facilities, and then once approved, we get to use the facilities for our research. And so, as you probably know, this is a nationally funded facility, so really it's through the assistance of the government who supports the CLS.
Would this potentially work in just people unvaccinated or people vaccinated as well?
Yeah, so this would be a drug applicable to anybody. So as you know, the vaccines have been highly effective at preventing spread, but there are some people who may not have a super strong immune response, or people who cannot be vaccinated, or there's still a few vaccine hesitant people there. So this would be very effective for all of those people. So even the unvaccinated and the vaccinated. One of the biggest issues is you really don't know the level of symptoms a person is going to have with COVID. And we have some people who have very mild symptoms, and then we have severe cases. And this will be, once a drug such as this goes into the market, it would be extremely important for those people who do have severe cases of COVID-19. Yeah, so I should also mention maybe at this stage, the drug company Pfizer, who's also making vaccines, also has a similar candidate that is targeting the same enzyme that we work on in COVID and SARS-CoV-2, which is a protease. And they have two different drug candidates, both going to stage 1 clinical trial. So that's the stage where they're just testing the safety. And they're testing an IV formulation as well as an oral formulation for an antiviral. So the work we're doing is very similar. Of course, this is a big corporation with lots of funding, and they've made great strides. But as we know, multiple antivirals may be needed, so it's important for us to still pursue what we're doing.
Sure, and especially if it can happen in Canada, that's an awesome thing to happen at home, right?
Exactly. So we're really proud of the teamwork that has occurred with this. We've actually published 4 papers on this topic already. We've really been working very effectively, and I think because the fact that we're all here at the U of A doing the work, and along with the remote data collection that occurs at CLS, we've been able to, while many of the research labs have shut down, we've been able to work really hard and continuously because we're not shipping samples around the world.
But is there any timeline as to when this drug would be available?
Well, the Pfizer drug, the fact that it's in stage 1 clinical trials is very promising. So there is potential that something could be on the market by next year. But for the compounds that we're working with, because we are an academic research group, it may be a bit longer. But whether it comes from us, Pfizer, or another biotech, it's likely that an antiviral will be on the market. And the speed that has been occurred with both the vaccine and antiviral development really has been promoted from the large amount of funding that has gone into this. So research can be slow, but sometimes that slowness is because not a lot of money is invested. But many countries around the world have invested research both in vaccine and antiviral development. And this has really helped us attack this problem, which is an immediate problem. And one of the benefits of the antivirals that we hope to see, and it appears this way from some of our publications, is that these might have some broad spectrum antiviral activity, which means it may just not only affect infections with SARS-CoV-2, but other SARS infections. So as you know, over the past 20 years, we've seen SARS-CoV-1, MERS, and SARS-CoV-2. So those are 3 different coronavirus infections. And it would be amazing to have an antiviral that would help us be prepared for that next coronavirus outbreak, pandemic, endemic. Hopefully not, but it's very likely that something like this would happen in the future too.